Okay, between the video break, I've added in here some sayings, about 10 of them, that could be, combined with whatever our other images are, right? Little Mean Girls reference here. And you can see that they're just, pretty plain, just, text, right? So we should define those in our property list, which I've actually already gone ahead and done. So we've got a new array sayings, and you can see all of them listed down here. What we want to do then is create another variable to store those, just like we did our emoji array. So we'll say sayings array, and we can just copy out that same bit of code that we had before, sayings, and then of course that is not going to equal sayings, right? Say-ins, no, we want sayings. All right. Now what we'll do is we'll use the count of that to define how many of our rows are going to appear in our picker view. But if you remember when we left off last time, let me just run this real fast. We ended up having 10 rows on both sides, both components, right? Which you're going to see in just a moment. So we had 10 over here and we had 10 over here. But over here, we don't want 10, okay? Because we're not going to do that many things over on this side. So again, this will be a case where we need to put in here a else statement. So we're going to say if component equals 0, basically our first one, then we're going to return sayings array.count. So pull that up into here. Else, what we'll do, and I think it would be a good idea to return, again, kind of a variable amount over here. And, this could be maybe actions array.count. Of course, we don't have an actions array yet, but this would be what we're going to potentially do to those, kind of manipulate our end image. So put over here actions array, and what we'll do is we'll put in here move, rotate, scale. Okay, so again, hard coding in what we're going to do. This I don't really feel like we need to put over here into the property list. It's not something that we're going to change potentially as often. So that should end up being, let's see, 3. And now when we come down in here to create the views for this, what we'll do is, so we'll say if component equals 0, then let's go ahead and just take this code over here, paste that down that way, and this will be our sayings array, right? And as for the label view, what we can do then is make this be our actions, right? So they'll just be actions array row. And let's see what we get. Golly, I hope it works out. Okay, so we're going to caption that one. And yep, sure enough, you can see that we've got all of our images over here, and then these guys over that way, right? So, we kind of need a background image to this whole thing, don't we? It's looking a little bit too white in the background, but isn't it fun to just kind of play around with? Okay, and obviously one thing we're going to need to address too is what happens if somebody goes and clicks down from that point. We're going to have to kind of get rid of everything, right? But problem for another time. Let's go ahead and set the background view inside of here. Self.view background color. So you can just throw in here any old color you want. UI color dot yellow might be kind of obnoxious. We could throw in a separate image back there too, but let's see how this looks. Hey, it looks like the app I made. But it certainly looks a little bit better, doesn't it? What happened? Oh, there it is. Okay. I think that's. I think I chalked that up to a simulator misfire there. Okay, well, let's go and keep working on this. So next up, let's add an image container, which is going to hold all of the elements that we are going to combine together to make our kind of end image. And to do this, we're just going to put over here var image container, if I can spell container correctly. There's going to be a UI image view, and just for right now, just put an exclamation mark after it. It just kind of commits to existing explicitly, I guess. And then what we're going to do is skip down right to, yeah, there it is. Add image. If I can never spell container correctly the first time. There it is. All right, add image container and plug this in func right over here. Add image container. I got it right that time. Okay, so we are going to put this below our emoji picker, our big picker right over there. And I kind of decided that it was down a little bit too far. Let's put that at 40 instead. And what we're going to do is let's put some calculations in here first. I think it's a little easier on the eyes if we do this. That WH is just going to stand for, in my mind, width and height, not White House. And we're going to make this equal to the width of the screen, right? So that, but we're going to multiply this by 0.66, so roughly 2/3 of what the screen width is going to be. And just so I don't have to do this calculation a few times inside of the frame variable, the CG rect we're going to set up in a moment. I'm going to do it outside of there, so it's again just a little cleaner. You'll see what I mean. And then I'm going to offset the X position based on this number right here, and that math is going to look like this. So we're going to take our width, we're going to subtract it by that variable that we just created, divided by 2. And I think if you just let me keep going here, you'll see what I mean. Okay, so our image container is going to equal UI image view, and when we initialize this, we can initialize it with a frame. And so here's our frame. It's going to come out over this way, so CG rect. Okay, and then we just do our usual stuff for the frame. So the X position is now going to be this offset right here, okay? And the Y is going to be self.view.bounds.height minus that little WH right there, okay? And I'm actually going to kick it back a little bit further, just to minus 85. And then for the width and the height, we're just going to put in here our WH and again our WH, okay? And I think that closes off all those guys. All right, so just a quick review. The X, now keep in mind that the width and height is going to be 2/3 of screen, and if we want to nudge that over a little bit, we just want to nudge it over by about half of the difference between the overall width and that 2/3 of the width, okay? So this just makes it so that you've got the same amount of, kind of space on either side of that that rectangular area. And we just want to make sure that the width and height are going to be the same, because we're going to end up with we want a perfectly square image. And ultimately what's going to happen here is we're going to kind of take a screenshot of everything that is inside of this image container, and then that's what's going to be able to be sent to other users. Okay, so we're going to say image container dot background color. Let's go ahead and set this to a UI color of just white, and that means we'll also be able to see it. And then self.view.add subview. We could do insert subview, and of course we're inserting our image container, and we're going to do this above subview, our emoji picker. Okay, now if we just put in here add subview by default because we ran this after this. It's going to be above it anyway, but let's just explicitly make sure that that happens. And let's see where we are at. Okay, so we're going to caption this. And sure, well, yeah, here's what we're checking by default. I just want to go spin these things. So yes, you can see that we've got about the same amount on either side. I mean, it should be exactly the same amount on either side. And by subtracting a little bit more, you know, from the overall height minus the, you know, this area right here. Okay, so the overall height minus that, minus a little bit more, gives us a little freedom down here at the bottom. And it kind of seems like things are positioned quite well. We should definitely check this though on the, you know, we've got our 6S Plus over here, so that's the bigger of the iPhones. Let's check in on it with the SE as well. So that would be the smaller of them. And I think it's going to look pretty good. It might take a second to fire up the other simulator, so I'll pause this. Okay, let's take a look. Caption this. Going to go into expanded mode, and so our selectable areas are right about there in the middle. You know, now that we have less space to work with, you can see that this cuts off a little bit of the bottom of the intro picker, but I'm actually okay with that. That's fine with me. And we've still got you know, a good little area to work with. We could put an info label or something like that down there if we needed to. But yeah, there we go. One thing that we need to address before we close out this video and actually do something with this image container is this little problem right here. Watch this. So well, first off, we haven't really done anything to, you know, back out of this screen anyway. But if you rerun this, okay, let it get reset. If you go into expanded mode, okay, and then you try to go over here to your kind of emoji mode, we don't end up with anything, and that's because if you scroll down here, let's see. All right, so in this else statement over here, we check to see if emoji picker.superview equals nil. Okay, then we're going to set up our emoji mode. This whole block over here doesn't actually run if we've already been in expanded mode. Okay, so you'll notice that here we go. We're going to press start. There it is. So we say self.request presentation style.expanded. Essentially, that just gets ignored if we're already in there. So what we should do is we should write if self.presentation style does not equal .expanded, then we're going to do this. Else, just go skip right over here to setting up emoji mode, right? And let's see if that works. Okay, so we want to first go into expanded mode. Let's go caption this, right? And then sure enough, all those elements do appear. All right, so in the next video, we want to actually show the selected little emoji guy or whatever, and then start adding in here these other images inside of this container and move them around, do all that fun stuff.